We are talking about a tough topic today, and that's preparing for death. And let's just keep it 100. People act crazy when money is involved.
I don't think a will is good enough. And I plead for young people who's in your 20s and 30s,
Yes.
get you
Third
good
party.
policies that go outside of your job, because when you leave that job, those policies aren't any good.
Okay, but let's have this quick conversation too. One reason why we're behind in wealth is because other people have learned how to use insurance to pass along wealth to their families.
This is Legra.
This is Stephanie.
This is Cherie. And this is Ivania. And this is Timeless and Unfiltered, where we are spilling the tea on midlife, one laugh at a time.
Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Timeless and Unfiltered. I am Legra.
I'm Cherise.
I'm Ivania.
And my name is Stephanie, and I'm so cool, because in my backyard I got a swimming pool. And when I get funky, I gotta take a stroll in my big swimming pool. Turns into a tub. Went downtown to try my rap. Said, baby, I got my face slapped. So I'm like,
Okay. When did you write this? When did you write this?
14 years old.
She was 14.
That's so funny.
Because I was like, wait, you got away.
What? And where's this pool at? And what? Sorry, I'm just being goofy.
She been dying to do that, y'all.
Yeah.
I had to let her have it.
Yes, thank you. I've had a lot of bad news over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Death, and so that's just,
Get it off.
we try to laugh, keep from crying.
Yes.
So we have a serious topic today. I wanted to make everybody laugh at first.
You did.
Thank you.
Ooh. Yeah, you made us laugh. You made us laugh. Well, I'm glad you were able to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were able to laugh, especially during this time. It's been a tough week or so for you. But before we get started, y'all be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Check us out on all major podcast platforms. And if you want to hear us and see us, y'all get over there on that YouTube channel and like, follow, and subscribe. And share.
And comment.
And share.
comment.
And share.
Share and comment,
And share. Okay, goodness. Well, you know, we are talking about a tough topic today that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's preparing for death. Preparing for when you're not here. Now, we're having this conversation. I know we're a little older and we're having this conversation, but this applies to everybody. This applies to young people, all of that. But we're not going to talk about it from a doomy standpoint. Gloomy doomy. Don't you? What word was that? A gloomy standpoint. We're going to talk about love, legacy, and preparing for our loved ones that we leave behind. This was kind of inspired by Stephanie, since we know you've had a tough week. We know you've been dealing with and having conversations with some family and with some friends who are the loved ones that are left behind after losing someone, and how
tumultuous.
Right. No one is prepared, but there are some things that you can do to help your family financially and things like that. Losing properties, losing things that, because we didn't prepare, that we didn't prepare for our passing.
Yes.
My personal story was with the death of my mother, is that we had lost a lot of rental properties that we didn't know my mother even owned. When my mother passed, we wasn't ready to deal with it immediately. The family dynamics of what was going on. And so my brother, sister, and I, we just created a united front, and we're not going to move until we're ready to move, till we're ready to clean out her house and all those kinds of things. Because you walked in a house, and we went down there many times, but you can smell her perfume. You can, and I was like, I ain't ready. I'm not ready, and so we would leave right back out of the house. Well, it's almost a year later. And now we got to go over here. We got to do something, you guys. And now you're finding documents. My mother had closing documents. And we're like, wait, what is this? My mother had rental property. Tenants?
What?
Like, we never knew. My mother never told us. So we didn't know. So when we lost her, we didn't know to go contact a mortgage company to check on the tenants in the house and By the time we learned of these things, houses are in foreclosure. We had already lost properties, all kind of things, because we just didn't know. There
Why
was
do you
no
think she didn't
folder.
mention that to you guys.
My mom was just a boss, My mom was just a
You
boss.
think you're not
She-
going anywhere, so
Yeah,
you'll
Right.
you
tell
may
them
not
eventually.
think that, but I don't know. I feel like you would want to let your kids
You
know,
would
like, I'm
think,
passing this down to you. I have properties. No.
And her friends didn't know either?
I don't know if they did. I don't know.
Dang, I just don't understand that.
And to this day, we swear to goodness, my mom got some money somewhere because my mom ain't broke.
Oh.
But we couldn't tell you where it is. And it's probably sitting in a bank somewhere. It's in an account or something somewhere. But just like when I think about me right now, I bank at multiple banks.
Yeah.
Now, my son knows Bank of America. Do he know I got money at Chase? Do he know I got money at Truist? Do he know I got,
Online
you know what I'm saying?
banking accounts. Did
Some
you have
people have
this?
online banking.
So I mean, that's true. I get it. I do. When you were saying that, I was thinking about that in my brain.
dang.
You really don't think about it. You don't.
You don't think to tell your children, or when you say you don't think about it?
I have
I would
most
tell
people.
But your children don't
You
know
haven't told-
everything. They don't know everything. They may know some of the
I mean,
basics. Like
yeah.
my son knows some of the basics. He know my login. My login is the same on all my checking accounts, but he don't know where all my checking accounts are.
Like, I have
'Cause he don't
11
know I went over
accounts.
there and
You
opened
don't.
an
They
account.
don't know. Okay, she have 11 accounts, and even if they do, like, quite honestly, we talked about we're in digital technology now.
Yeah.
Do they know how to access them? Do you have your information somewhere? You might because you're an IT person,
Yeah,
right?
I don't.
It's
But
my
most
face doesn't
people.
open up the app.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they have to put your phone
Don't
in
put your
front of you
face
because
on
all my
there.
passwords is at a place. But you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
most people do not leave that type. They're not leaving that type of
That digital
information.
footprint.
That's what it
have
is.
to.
Exactly. Because we think that we just have more time. Most people just don't. We don't think about. Okay, yeah, I am going to leave here, and I need to make sure that they have all of this information. All of this information if something happens.
We're business owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens to the business?
Yeah, that's the part I hadn't thought about.
We're small business owners.
Yeah.
It's different
But
than some
nonetheless-
big conglomerate. They just gonna replace the CEO and you just keep on pushing. You're the CEO, you're the secretary, you're the CFO,
Accountant.
you're the janitor.
Secretary,
You know what I'm saying?
everybody.
But you have clients. With us being even in the travel industry, you got trips that are headed out. You have payments that you've had to take and you have to process. You got vendors that got to be paid, and because guess what? Something happened to me, that trip still got to take place.
Still got to take place.
So what happens to your business? What happens to your personal life? I was smart enough to set up a trust, a family trust. I have a business trust. I'm going to open a charitable trust, but guess what? It's opened. It's all in IRS numbers and everything, but I haven't put the house in the
knows the
trust yet.
information? Yeah.
I haven't moved all the assets
Yeah.
into the trust. Not even exactly sure how to do it.
Yeah, that part.
But then the sad part about that is the people that set everything up for me, set up meetings and everything for me to walk me through it, guess who's too busy and who haven't had time to do it? Because guess what? I could do it tomorrow.
See,
But
you never know.
Who told me I was going to be here tomorrow?
Listen, I realize you may not be.
So I got all these
get it
trusts and
together.
everything set up, but what's the point of the trust if I don't move the assets into them? So just your experience over the last couple of weeks and bringing up that conversation, just put that in the forefront of my mind. Like were you walking around here thinking you got my house ain't in order.
Yeah.
My house not in order.
We probably need to promise each other that by a certain date we will all have this stuff somewhere
Yeah.
written down. Because otherwise we'll
Have
talk about it and I'm still
accountability
Right.
partners.
Right. And you're
Yeah.
still not
Then we
going
had
to
to
do
check in.
it.
Did you do yours? Did you do yours?
Yeah, like we just need to do a check-in or something. And that's just the basics. Even your bank accounts, you have to have your beneficiary for your bank accounts.
Yep.
You have to, my mortgage or your home, does my son even know who the mortgage is with? He don't pay the bill.
I wrote all that down.
You know what I'm saying? But like you said, we just assume we're here tomorrow. But who
And even with
says?
that, you'd still have to update it. Because like I said, I had wrote everything out, all my accounts, passwords, everything. And I opened it up this week and I was like, half of this stuff has changed. So I was like, oh gosh, you have to constantly go in and update every time you buy a new house or you acquire another asset. It's just something you have to keep up with. And at the end of the day, we take time to go get our hair and nails done, to go to the gym or
Right.
do stuff like that. So now I'm like, you know what? Let me take time to get my stuff together, for the future and for my kids so they don't have to go through. So let me sit down and get this together.
But even life insurance,
Yeah.
even with your life insurance policy for a long time now, it's been changed for years and stuff now. But when I was married, my spouse was the beneficiary of my life insurance. You know how many people still have their exes on their life insurance policy?
A lot.
Jeez.
That still have their
update it.
exes?
Oof.
My son is
Because they
grown
don't think
now.
about it.
Yeah.
Right, my
it's
son
like,
is
oh,
grown now. So, the moment my son was old enough that it could be him. Now, I always left it as my ex-husband because I know my ex-husband will do right by my son.
Yeah.
But now that my son is old enough, I needed to go back and make sure that I
Yeah.
changed and updated my beneficiary. But a lot of people,
Don't
even your
think about it.
beneficiary is outdated. And let's just keep it 100. People act crazy when money is involved.
They do.
When money is involved, I can't guarantee you that old name you have on there is going to take care of the things. Especially, I don't even have a relationship anymore,
Right.
and it don't even have to be an ex. It could be a family member or whatever it is that they may not be. If they don't know what they're supposed to do because you also don't have a letter of direction, you need to know. They need to know what your wishes are. So
Because
who's
your
that
word
person?
isn't
Right.
good enough anymore.
It isn't.
Right.
Well,
They
she
need
told
to.
me she wanted this one. No, she told me she wanted. Well, I think she wants
But
this.
that's the family, and then like you say, once family starts getting
Oh,
involved,
it's so terrible.
you see so many people falling out when someone passes away. The family is, and especially if they think that person had something.
She said she
Whether
gonna
it's
give
money,
it to me. I
right?
wanted this thing.
Money or assets or a home or just anything. And we ain't even talking about millionaire money. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? I'm talking about everyday folks
Working
kind of
class
stuff.
people, yeah.
People you got to
It's
have a
so
letter
terrible.
of direction. I think we also talked about earlier too. You don't even have to pass away. Suppose I'm just getting incapacitated,
Yeah.
And you can't speak for yourself.
and I can't speak for
Have
myself.
someone in charge.
Who's supposed to handle the business? Who's supposed to make sure all that stuff? But these are things we don't like to talk about because it is a heavy topic, but it's a necessary.
Absolutely.
Because I think even the legal, I think even the legal paperwork, we don't quite understand because I don't think a will is good enough.
It's not.
But that's my point. But everybody will say, I have a will. And so wills will still get you caught up in the probate
Oh, yeah,
and all of
absolutely.
the other things. So we're saying, yeah, it's written down, but it's almost like you got to have this legally documented
trust.
and outlined exactly so that the trust understands what to do and how you do it. Because that's really, to me, how you are responsible to your family, the children, your whoever. And it's all, when you don't know, it's all what we think we know. And so
what you
to
don't
your
know can hurt
point,
you.
we just have to hold each other accountable for doing the things to make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, the right thing by our families. Because when you talk about the digital footprint, that in itself is a lot.
I mean,
You
passwords
got,
are cut.
yeah, and then you have
Can't
like
keep up with 'em.
these policies that, do they make sense now? Do they not make sense? You know how you pay into these insurance policies when you have a job 20, 30, 40 years. And so, and I plead for young people who's in your 20s and 30s,
Yes.
get you, meet with
Third
somebody
party.
and get you
Yeah.
Third
good
party.
policies that go outside of your job.
Yeah.
Because when you leave that job, you first of all,
Yeah.
y'all don't stay nowhere more than 2 years anyway.
Right.
But when you leave those jobs, I'm serious. When you leave, those policies aren't any good. You have to pay for them. So think about somebody who's getting ready to retire. Like, I'm about to retire.
Night
the end of
insurance is
this
so
year.
expensive, you can't.
And so I've been paying into it for years. And now, you can leave, but you're not going to pay $12 a pay period anymore like you have been doing for years. We're going to charge you $450 to $500 because you're no longer on payroll, right? So like, while you're young, and for your babies, if you have them,
Yes.
make sure that you're checking in with somebody who's licensed, who can give you the right direction. Like we said, quit looking at TikTok and Instagram for all them people giving you advice, because
Sit down with a professional.
Sit down with a professional and get your stuff in order.
But then
because-
it's even scary with the professionals because, like I had mentioned before, my grandmother and them had policies back in the day that they had been paying on for 1,000,000 years, and then when something happened, there's no money, no
Yeah.
company, and
But
it's
that
just
also
I think
like
you have to
depends
go
on-
to
it's like,
big
how do
name
you
to
trust
Charles Schwab.
any-
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to.
yes,
I'm
Ones
not
that have been
trying
around
to
for
endorse
hundreds of
anybody,
years,
but I
those
think
ones.
you got to go with the big companies
Yeah.
at some point to at least the conversations. You know what I mean?
You would think that'd be cool, but then now the state of the economy, you see a bunch of big companies going under, filing bankruptcy and laying off a bunch of people. And it's like, oh my gosh, like,
But it's
are
a-
these
it's a
entities
risk you gotta
going to
take.
still be around? It's just,
It's a risk you gotta
it-
take.
and
It's
it
like
is something you got to take.
it's like your car insurance.
Oh yeah, you pay all that time.
Man,
It's like your car insurance.
Not having
It's insurance.
Yeah,
It's,
that's
that's
what it
exactly
you're just
what it
giving
is.
away money and pray that you get it back
It's the
when you
what
need
if.
it.
It's the what if.
Yeah.
You hope you don't need it, but if you need it, you hope you have
Yeah.
it.
Pray you
In
don't
the
need
name
it.
of Jesus,
But I
you better
realized
have
that
it.
too when I got laid off of my job of 10 years and had been paying into the life insurance and paid extra into the life insurance when I got laid off. It was like, oh yeah, it's really no good now. And again, and I'm like, if you laid me off, where am I getting this money to pay, the extra fees? And I was like, oh gosh, I will never do life insurance through a job because I can't get that money back. And for 10 years, I paid all this money into that life insurance, and it's just gone. Yeah.
And now you're 10 years older. So now to get third-party insurance,
It
your
costs
premiums
so
are
much.
higher.
And it's
You
just
can't
like,
get as
oh,
much
they
coverage.
set me up for failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in my case, I now have a cancer diagnosis.
So pre-existing.
But in the name of
people
Jesus,
don't-
I already had life insurance.
Yep, and that's the blessing.
That I bought, to make sure that everything was okay. But if I didn't have it, I'd be in trouble.
And it's a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah, it's a lot of people in trouble.
That hadn't thought about that, and now they have issues pre-existing, and it's like, what am I
can't
supposed
afford
to
And
do?
you're older. You
Yeah.
just can't afford it.
Yeah.
I remember when Obamacare came out in the healthcare marketplace, and I was thinking of even just my health insurance and stuff, and the premium was so high. I was like,
What is
am I
this?
that old?
Like, dang.
Am I that old? The premium's so high. Yeah, that the premiums and stuff are so high because now you're older. So these
they
are just
expect
things you have to
something to
think. You
happen.
have to think about. You have to prepare for these things. We talk about. You see this all over Instagram and TikTok. You need a revocable trust. You need an
Yes.
irrevocable trust. You
Yeah.
need. So I had to talk to trust people.
Yeah.
What works
Yeah.
for me? Because everyone's situation is different. I have irrevocable trust.
Do you?
Yeah, I have irrevocable trust. You cannot. You can't
change
You
it,
can't
but-
change it.
But you
I
can still
think
add to
that's
it.
risky. I mean, I think in your situation, I think it'll be fine, but I feel like revocable, and I've been researching on doing it ever since things happened, and I'm like, oh, let me get things together and get everything moved over. And so, and even in researching, a lot of times they want you to pay a lawyer, and they're wanting like $600, $700. I'm like,
Oh, that was cheap.
It's worth it.
well, you can also do it for free through
Yeah.
Law Depot. And you'll pay like $50. You can set it all up, and they even talk to you about doing a pour over wheel, which is if you accumulate something later on and you don't have an initial, it'll automatically pour over into that trust, and you'll be protected. And it's like $50 for the first 5 years that you can access it, and I guess that is legally binding. I don't know. Still trying to figure that out. But I've been trying to do my due diligence to get it together. I don't want to spend $1 million. I don't. But Law Depot, and there's videos out there about it. And I think I'm not going to say it's free, but it's not $700. It's $50. And then they
700. That's cheap.
It is.
Them things are thousands.
see lawdepot.com.
But it also, I think, it depends on. Again, every
The
person's
extent,
situation is
yeah,
different.
it's-
What you
the
have.
extent.
What you got to
Leaving.
lose? What all the different moving parts? I have a lot of moving parts.
Oh, and I lost my train of thought. That's where I was going with the revocable and
Yeah.
irrevocable.
Yeah.
Because I watched a bunch of videos like which one is the best to do, which one is the best to do. And it depends on who you're leaving in charge and who's the beneficiary. So that's why I say for you, I feel like you're fine. But let's say you have 5 kids. No, let's say you have 2 kids and you say, I want this to be irrevocable. And you labeled your 2 kids as the beneficiaries, but one may go out and get a drug habit or something, and now they're stuck to inherit all this money that you know. And I guess maybe at the end of the day, once you're gone, you're not going to
Yeah, I
care
don't
what
care.
happened.
That-
Oh Jesus!
For me, I
but
don't
you
care.
went and let's say that one that you had in charge of everything is supposed to take care of the latter, the younger or whatever. But their drug habit, they're going to get that money and it can create chaos. So that's why I say, I'll do a revocable in the event I have to move some things around. Or let's say the people you have listed on there, one of them passes before you, but you still have them listed in this.
No, you can still change that. There are stipulations in there for you to change.
Oh, okay.
For you to change that. It's not as you can't. Once it's done, you can't do nothing.
That's what they made
no,
it seem like
you
in
can
my
still
research.
you can still add. You can do all these different things. But once I put my house in that trust, that house is in that trust.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The great thing about it is, also for tax purposes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Protection.
For the beneficiaries, for the tax purposes, they don't have to pay those taxes.
Yeah.
They would have to if you passed it on to
Because
them.
they
Yeah,
ask you
for
if you
tax
wanted
purposes.
to come out of your trust, if you want the tax.
You need to learn how to use that. You need to learn how to use that trust. And there's so many conflicting information,
Yeah.
but the bottom line is sit down and speak with someone who knows what they're talking about, no matter who it is.
I will say
Yeah.
professional keeps up with the tax laws because those
Yes.
things change every year, every
Yes, come
administration.
on. Let's talk
Lawyer.
to our, I'm sorry.
To
Let's
the
talk to
lawyer.
our attorney over
Yes.
here.
Because my mom knows all this stuff better than me. She has everything planned out. I'm not the best person to talk to. But because laws change all the time,
Yeah.
like you might have something set up based on the laws with how they are now. But
Today.
then something changes and your tax situation changes. And then if you pass, who knows what's going to happen to your items in there. So you have to kind of keep, like you said, keep an update. Maybe every year or so, kind of go through everything.
through.
Has anything changed? Anything I need to add? Anything I need to take away? Any new people? Grandchildren, you may want to add them in there now. Or, like you said, somebody might have passed. Maybe you need to take that person off. So
Yeah.
it is something you need to really stay on top of. I need to tell myself I need to stay on top.
Right. But even a directive, okay, suppose you don't pass.
Yeah.
You're incapacitated in some
power of
form or
attorney.
fashion, having the power of attorney. I'm always asked every time I go to my doctor's appointment about my living will and all that kind of
Because
stuff.
somebody still has to pay
Right,
your bills. Like,
right.
you're incapacitated,
Yeah.
but your bills still have to get paid.
Right.
Their money.
Who's gonna take care of your things? So, like I'm saying, these are just conversations that are hard to have. And we're having them now. Again, we are a little bit older, but young people.
Everybody.
Look, I'm gonna throw Mo under the bus for a second. Mo is a single man.
Yeah.
But in the event something happens to Mo, who buries you, Mo?
Parents.
Where the money come from?
Parents.
Right, but I'm just saying. But a lot of people's parents aren't in a position
to do that.
financially to pay for that because we think we have all the time in the world. And at your age, life insurance is cheap. My son is in his 20s.
Yeah, it was real
Well, I'm
cheap.
paying $40 a month or something, whatever,
so
for
great.
a couple $100,000
Candy's policy
or
is
whatever.
cheap, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's so cheap. But when you need or you start thinking about life insurance, you in your 40s and 50s. Now you know how much that life insurance costs. But that same policy that you could have had at 20 that was so cheap, and God forbid when you start to have children, because a lot of young people don't think they need, insurance yet.
Indispensable.
Right, because we're all invincible, right? So you don't think you need life insurance, or how many young people lose their children young?
So yeah,
My
I
son-
never
my
put it on
son-
my kids.
my son-
I just don't want to think about that.
But why not?
Gosh.
God forbid, in the name of the Father,
you
the
have to
Son,
read
and the
it.
Holy
I don't-
Spirit, something happens to your children.
I told my kids, one go down, we all going down. Because I'm not going to be
Okay,
able to
Okay, well,
make
who's
it.
paying for y'all? Y'all all sit on top of the dirt? I mean, like,
No,
what
I
are we doing?
got stuff in place. We all going down.
Yeah, but if you don't pass it, if for some reason something happened to my son, even when he was a child, the minimum policy of
Gerber?
whatever. No, I never had Gerber. He was always a child rider on my policy.
Okay.
So I had a policy, and I think the maximum you could have on a child was like $15,000. Because the purpose of life insurance is to replace your income. Is to replace your monetary value. That is the purpose of your life insurance. If I passed away, would my son still be able to live and survive? Because he was a minor. If my son passed away, he wasn't income generating in my house. He didn't need $100,000 policy. You know what I'm saying? His policy needed to make sure he was able to be
buried, yeah.
to
Take
be
care of his
buried.
final.
So it's supposed to replace your income. That's the reason why your policy is significant. If something happens to you, how is your income replaced? So you have to think about that. But my son, from the time he stepped up out the womb, it was time to put a policy on him.
Hey, little one.
I know, and you hate to think about that. But that's why we're caught off guard when things happen, because we don't want to have these tough conversations and we don't want to think about
I
it.
think in our community we don't have it. I think other communities have it.
Hello,
They do
but
it.
okay, but let's have this quick conversation too. One reason why, and I'm putting this out there, and anybody want to dispute this, you surely can, that we're behind in wealth.
Yeah.
Is because
Bury it.
other people have learned how to use insurance to pass along wealth to their families. Now, don't make me throw up the Rockefellers, because I will, because everybody uses the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm setting all that stuff up. All that stuff, that's the whole reason why I got the trust, is to set that up for my family. Is because when you pass, that money goes into the trust. Right? When you pass, brother so-and-so, the money goes into the trust. The trust is constantly being funded. The trust takes care of the family. So every time someone passes, guess who's the beneficiary? The beneficiary ain't Du Bois.
The trust.
When I pass, my beneficiary is not my son. It is my trust. But guess who's now the new executor of the trust? My son.
Your son.
Which means now he has dominion over all the assets in the trust. But if I put him on my bank account, he only gets my bank account. But if my bank account's beneficiary is the trust, when anything happens, everything goes to the trust. And my trust is set up that when something happens to me, he steps in as the next head of the trust. So he has everything.
And he can
But guess who ain't got everything put in there yet? Me, because I'm busy.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
We're going to all
busy.
get it. We all
So,
have to do it.
I'm glad that, I'm not glad that you went through what you went through.
It's
It was
a
a
wake up
Going
call
through.
for everybody.
But it's a wake-up call. Because, okay, like, you got this piece
Girl,
set up,
yeah,
but if
do
you
this.
don't finish doing
Yeah.
what you're doing, it's still going to be incomplete. I still got stuff everywhere that I haven't, and I have not created that digital footprint. I got passwords everywhere because some of these things make you change the password
know,
every
I
6
can't
months.
keep up with
now I
it.
don't
It's
know
a
what the
lot.
password
Yeah.
is.
Just change
It's a
one letter
lot.
at a time.
Yeah, but what is it? This one only
tell
takes
you.
exclamation points
Yeah,
and this.
it's
So
like,
on my phone.
God,
I
keep
couldn't
up
tell you
with
what
all of
password
that.
is. It's all on my phone.
right.
apps
Now,
on
how
there.
did she get in
And
your
that's
phone?
so dangerous.
I'm dead. It's open my eyes.
Right. Right. Because now you got facial ID. So how's she supposed to get in your phone to get
You can't
on
use
this?
the fingerprint anymore. You have to
Yeah, see, we gotta think of stuff like that.
You don't think
God.
of this
Give me the
stuff.
code. I give
So
the codes.
And I do have, and my daughters are grown, but I have a policy on all of them. I still carry policies. They have, they have their own.
Yeah.
They work, whatever.
Do they know where to go to
But-
find all this information if something
For
should
mine,
happen?
yes.
See, I know where
Yeah.
my mom's stuff is. My
But
kids don't know any of
they
that.
know where to
Right.
go for mine, but it ain't worth shit. I mean, when I say worth shit, I don't mean financially. I mean, it's
Them
not.
following
I
through?
still have to do. I have enough work to do, especially when I got off that call yesterday, that retirement call. Like I really thought I had it in order. There's
Makes
a
you
lot I
realize
didn't
how
even.
you don't.
There was a lot that I don't even understand or that I know. So yeah, they know where to go, but that don't mean anything. The right information is not there. And I actually ordered the book. It hadn't come yet, but y'all, us and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram.
They're
Something came
teaching
through
us.
that said, "I'm not here anymore. It's all on you now," or something like that.
Right.
Some book. It looked like it kind of take you through the steps. So I actually ordered the book to write through it, so that when I get with,
Look, I want a book.
That's what I'm like. That's not
I'll
me. I
send
wanna
y'all the
book.
link.
Send
So
us the
it's
link.
just
I
run
wanna
all
book.
through,
Put that out on
so that when I
Instagram.
get, you know what I mean. When I
Everything
want to
is written out.
Yeah, but I want to go through it first.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact. Them girls is just emotional as I am. Okay.
They're going to be a mess.
Right. I know that I will definitely have someone who goes through and know everything. They'll know where to go, but they don't really need to know where to go. Because I will have someone very specifically, it'll be finite,
administrator.
it'll be written out, they'll make sure that everything is okay. And even when they were younger, I had an attorney, you know, as they got older. I said, I don't need to do all this, but I got to go back to something. At a certain age, if I passed, at a certain age, they got a certain amount. And then at this age, they got a certain amount. If they got married, this amount actually went to their wedding. And if they didn't get married at this age, this is what they got. And if they got to a certain age, they just got it all, right? But I mean, I literally, and I kept up with that, and I had an attorney that I did all that. But as they became adults, it was like, okay. But I need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and figure out what's the new plan.
Yep.
What's
Yes,
the new
I
plan?
need to really go back to the drawing board. But for me, because it's all a matter of what feels good to you and makes sense to you. Like for me, I wish I could do the .com thing, but in my brain, it scares me. For me, for Sharice. But see, you're in IT, you get all the stuff, you probably know the
But there's so many moving parts to it.
Yeah, because there's just it's just too much. And then from my understanding, not one thing covers everything.
It doesn't. No.
So I need an expert to sit in front of me and say.
But that's why I had to have a family trust, because it only deals with this stuff. It doesn't deal with my business. So I needed a business trust.
Yeah.
So I had to have, so to make sure that everything that's supposed to happen to the business. So it's so many moving parts, and I just think we're not prepared. And then again, we always talk about, I'm going to leave a legacy for my children. You have to do that while you're here.
Yeah.
But
While
you
you're
have to
here.
understand, like stock options.
Yeah.
Like I was very risky. So now that I'm at retirement, like a couple years ago, I had to stop the risk because I was it paid off, right? It paid off well because I'm going to do well. I have retirement, pension, and 401 for years. So like I'll be very well off. But I had to have someone tell me, no, you can't be risky anymore.
anymore.
Thank God in this economy right now,
it's managing.
I would have been in trouble. But now, what do I do now? I mean, I'll be fine, but I need somebody to sit down.
Yes.
So you got the retirement, you got this, you got the insurance. Like you have all these different things. Your house, you got 3 daughters, right? So so what happens? Where does this go? And where does that go? And how do you make this happen? And how was all of this explained to them so that everybody can breathe and they're good?
And not freak out.
Because now what
That's
they
a
ain't
lot
going
to
to do
say,
is let them other folks come inside to think
try
they're going
to
to get
do.
something. Them 3 right there,
said
that
they
ain't
ain't
happen. So I'm not even worried about that.
But you also want to make sure that the government don't have to come in
And that's why we
get
talked
something.
about probate and making sure that everything is in order, because I hear so many people say, I have a will, and I'm like, okay.
I don't think that's enough.
Well, no, I don't think it is
It's
either.
not.
So listen, if you're in Atlanta, preferably a woman, but it's okay if you're a guy. If you're watching us, you can leave us comments and give us some information, because we're serious and we're going to make each other accountable.
We're going to make each other accountable.
And put our deadlines in place when we get done with this.
When you're talking about the digital aspect of everything, so a part of my preparation, I have the box with, all the information to leave my kids. I also started writing them individual letters. And I tell them, how proud I am they are at this point and things of that sort. And each year I would write a letter and put it in the box. So in the event that something happens to me, they can, when they get to the box, it'll be letters. So I just started this, and I was reading the letters to my boo thing and another girlfriend of mine, and he got choked up and was like, oh man, I feel like they need to hear that now. And then my friend was like, no, I think they need to hear this stuff now, not when you gone. But I'm like, and so I sent it to them. Oh Lord.
Oh, come on, look, you got to come
Jesus.
across my leg. We got to squeeze our butt cheeks and not cry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I sent them to them. And my oldest,
She needed it. Come on. It's okay.
she only read one line. And she called, she said, Ma, what is wrong? What's going on? And I said, oh, that was just a letter that, in my passing, you guys can go back through the box and have something to read that I left for you. And she's like, Mom, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. My middle baby called and she's like, Mom, what's going on? And I was like, Jesus Christ. I said, that was just me. I said, someone told me you guys needed to hear this now. I was going to write you letters every, year and just keep them in the box. And when I pass, you could go back and read all the letters that I wrote to you. but it was my son. And I don't even talk to my son every day because he got his girlfriend, he lives on his own. I've never heard my son cry. When he called, I couldn't even understand him. Because he was crying, he said, Ma, he said, one, I needed to hear that. Because I told him I'm proud of the man that he's becoming. He's going through things like most young adults, but I was like, I'm proud and you're doing better than you think you are. And it was just me, saying stuff like that. But he was like, I don't know what I would do if I lost. He's like, I honestly don't know what I would do. He said, I pray for you.
Sharice, because Sharice is very good.
He said,
I'm trying to keep
I'm not looking either direction.
he said, I pray for you every day that nothing happens to you. And I was like, for me, I never knew he really felt like that about me, but I couldn't even hardly understand. Yeah, and I couldn't understand it because he was crying so hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because I didn't want to invoke that emotion out of him. I just, Lord Jesus. And so I had to go tell his sisters too, listen, if something happens to me, y'all have to be there for your brother. And I mean, be with him every day.
It's something about a son and his mother.
Yeah.
Because to this day, my mother has been gone for 20 years. She died in 2005. If you talk about my mother right now and look at my brother's face, the hurt, the anger, it's like it was yesterday. It's like he still has not released it to this day, and it's been 20 years to this day. The way she died was tough. It was instant. It was, that it was so quick. But when I say to this day, if you talk about my mother with my brother, you would think my mother died yesterday.
That's why I wanted to say.
It's something about those sons and their mothers. But you know what? It also sounded to me like you needed to hear that too. It was something, you needed to know that about your son and how he...
you love your mom. You love
It was for him, but it was also for you.
Yeah. But I told them every year I'm going to write them letters, and I said, and so I'll keep it in that box because I'm sending them digitally. We don't know where everything's going to be. And I was like, I'm just going old school. I got them sealed in envelopes, and you guys can always
it's in
go
your
back.
writing too. So
Because when I see my mother's signature, it's still
Well,
in
no,
both.
it's not in my writing. It's in.
Oh, you typed it?
Because they can't read my writing because I can only write cursive.
Oh, God. I forgot these young people can't read cursive.
Oh, my gosh.
Lord
they
have mercy.
struggle
Isn't that
to
funny?
read.
That's a whole nother
They
story.
cannot. They're like, really?
A lot of young people can't read cursive.
No,
they don't
can't.
teach cursive
They don't
anymore.
teach
I
it
know they don't
anymore.
teach it, but they can't read.
No, because if you don't write it or read it, how
And
you
don't.
I mean, write it
they
or...
see the letter. They be like, what
do you
is
read it?
this? Yeah, I have to
Can
type
you use
it
like
out.
Google Translate?
Have you ever seen Du Bois's signature?
They probably just.
He still looks like he's 4 years old.
That's how all my kids' signatures look.
It's like D.
And I'm like, wait, no.
You.
Yo, I don't know what that
you know how you
is.
had to do that?
Yeah.
He still writes like, and put the little swirly thing on the end.
know what
and
that is.
his signature.
Look like they're in the 5th grade.
To this day,
My son,
at
too.
27, his signature looked like he's 4.
And that's why I told her, I said, anybody
still writes his name like a
can
photograph.
copy your signature. Because it looks like you're a 5th grader.
it do.
Anybody can write that. I said, you got to come up with some jazzy, something.
This man, they can't read cursive.
Yeah, a lot of
they
young people
can't. They
cannot.
Because something about, I'll go back through, I keep all my letters from high school, middle school, aunts sending me cards and stuff. And I have cards,
Yeah,
birthday
I
cards
do
when I was
too.
like 3 years old.
Buckets.
Wow.
And I can look at it and I can see their writing, like, love you, Aunt Lily.
I know, and it evokes an emotion. Like when I see my mother's handwriting, because something weird will pop up out of the blue for some reason, and then when you see it, it's like,
And it's like they touched this, they wrote this for me, like something tangible that you have.
Well, they say you're even supposed to write like a letter of direction. Like you can tell them where the wheel is, tell them where this is, tell them tell them what you want for your service, tell them what song you want to be played or whatever.
Yeah, I know my
and
song.
I knew from the moment every time, and I don't know who was with me the other day. The Fighting Temptations came on, when the one that Beyonce was in, and when they sing the closing song, feels like I always falling short of being worthy. I
Yeah, I know
ain't
that
good
song.
enough, but he still loves me. That was my mother's song. So anytime I could be anywhere, and now I hear that sucker in the background. Them
You're way over.
them tears will start going. You just hear it, and it invokes that emotion. My mother been gone 20 years, but that song gets me.
You had your surgery, your first surgery, and that song came on.
Oh
And you
yeah,
called
still
me.
surgery. Like,
Yeah, you
Well,
called
cry
me.
like you just, like it was
Yeah, there's certain
yesterday. It
songs like
invokes
that
that
too.
emotion.
I know my songs. I did it my way.
Come on now.
Because that is me.
Yes.
And Unwritten. Y'all know Natasha Bedingfield's song, Unwritten?
See, now we're going to have to play it.
And y'all know mine is
Can you
This
sing?
Woman's Work.
This
Okay.
woman's work.
Let
Okay,
him
'cause I
sing.
told you I'm a-
'cause
Oh,
when
you
he
gonna
sing-
say, come on, Mom, sing for
Unwritten,
us,
you
Mom.
gonna know it
But
when you
look,
hear
now,
it.
don't have YouTube.
Isn't that a good
don't have
song,
YouTube. Don't have YouTube shutting our mess down.
Yeah. I can't sing.
Got it. I never knew what it was.
Release your inner
I never knew the name of the song. Okay, got it.
Natasha
No
Bedingfield.
one else
Got
can
it.
feel it for you.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
song.
I never knew the
We
name
know
of the
that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't be
It
getting my
says
YouTube
the-
channel
it says
shut
the
down
re-
already. Talking
We
about
know that.
copyright laws and all that stuff. Don't be
Yeah.
getting us
On
shut
rights
down.
to the song.
Right.
Yeah, it says
That
the,
part.
the
We know
rest
that.
is still unwritten. That's just my those two. Because I really do live my life on my
Yeah.
own
You
terms.
do.
Y'all know that.
You
so,
do.
So yeah, but so the girls know all of that stuff about me.
I don't think I have a song.
Y'all be scared at mine.
But I don't
don't
want.
be scared.
I don't
I
want
told you
no.
I'm rising up out of the casket.
No, what you do? What you do?
I know you got a little life in you. I know you got a lot of springs left. Everybody gonna run out. I told my kids I'm coming back.
Wait, have you seen some of these funerals? You got people on horses. You got people
In
they
their
go
cars.
in cars.
See.
You got people sitting straight up. Like, okay, y'all doing the
You
most.
got somebody that got dropped. Y'all see the man that got dropped out?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was terrible.
Yes.
What
Like
y'all
a cremated,
said
he
that-
ain't
that
dropping
was
me.
terrible.
Paul Bear's
I
dropped
don't know.
okay.
That was
Dancing and all that.
terrible.
I'm like, yes,
Yeah, I
I
don't-
don't waiting to happen.
That was terrible.
That
Yeah.
was.
And then they
Now,
ran away.
Now, my mom's funeral looked like Pimps Up, Hoes Down. I'm gonna tell you right now,
Oh,
we was
shoot.
all in colorful stuff because she told us she never wanted us to wear black.
I wouldn't want people to wear
So
black.
we didn't wear black. No one wore black, and we said black will not even. You won't even be permitted in the church if you got
No,
on
that's
black.
right.
So everyone
home.
came in, all these colors. I'm telling you, it looked like Pimps Up, Hoes Down.
That's what's up.
Like all the Kool-Aid colored.
I love it.
suits.
Gators.
Hey, yeah,
I love
right,
it.
right. But you know what? When you pass, and we're gonna wrap this up here in a moment. When you pass, I didn't realize all the things that my mother had done. And
people
all
get
the
up and
people
speak
that
about it.
talk about
people
it.
I didn't know. Your mother used to come by the shelter. I had adopted a shelter after my mother passed because my mother, which we didn't know, every Christmas adopted this shelter. It was a women and children shelter somewhere off of Northside Drive. And from food to clothes to everything. We never knew that. See, this is all the stuff.
That you don't know.
You know, like we think you know mama, but you don't know every single thing that she did. You know, and she touched so many people. Oh, your mom used to feed us every what? When was you at the house? Because I was at the house. So when was you there? But all the things that they did,
And that's where that book, Mom, I Want to Hear Your
Right.
Story,
Ordering
comes
that
in,
That's what I was like.
where you
yeah.
can start
Well,
writing that
send me
down
a
for
link
your
that.
kids.
I just wrote in it when Callie passed.
Yes.
I wrote in it this week,
Send me
like
the
the
book.
very
y'all
next
send us
day.
the
It's in
link.
my cart, man.
Look, we promoting other stuff, people's stuff. What's the name of the book?
Mama, I Want to Hear Your Story.
Mama,
Yeah,
I
Mom,
want to
I
hear
think
your
it's
story.
Mom, Tell
Tell
me
me
your
your
story.
story. Tell me your story.
And then
something
you're
like
sending
that.
us a link for what?
I don't remember the name, the
But what
exact
does it
name,
do?
but it's just for you to write down everything about when you're not here. It's this is your trouble now or something. This
Okay.
is for
God,
you
now you're in charge or something like that. Something you said.
So
yeah,
is it-
God
is it-
now is your problem or something like that. But it's just a book, a workbook that you write through and
Okay, so it's like your checking accounts, your all the things that you don't think of.
For me, it's just a start to
Putting your
taking
house
it
in
somewhere
order.
else or putting it somewhere else. Yeah, just somewhere to kind of compose and put all your stuff together first.
Yeah, but this is just a conversation a lot of us don't want to have. But we're gonna get some. We're gonna get someone in here to talk about life insurance.
Yes.
Experts.
We'll get some. We
All
gotta
of
get
it.
some experts in here.
Yes, all of
the
it.
trust, the irrevocable
Yeah,
or revocable.
Yeah.
The living will, all that.
All those
stuff.
different things. So let's get
Yeah, that
somebody
would
in
be
here and
good.
break this
Yeah.
thing down for us.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta get our house in order.
How long do we need?
Everybody.
A couple weeks, a month? What do we need?
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna need a minute.
Oh, Jesus.
But look, but here you go again. Who says you got
Not
a
a
minute?
minute.
Who says you got a minute? See, this
You
is
got
stuff I'm
man.
talking about.
at least a day to get through all this stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, I know y'all know I be an advocate for everything.
Go ahead.
Where in Atlanta We're in Atlanta.
Yes.
There's a lot of women here. We got a lot of girlfriends here in Atlanta with us. I really think we need to get some professionals and get a building or go somewhere and have like,
Some kind of workshop.
We could do a workshop where we
great.
really
That's a
get
good
some
idea.
good information from it too, though. Like, we're here.
So
Yeah.
you see my.
But we could do it once this, I mean, we need to start working on our books and stuff now.
It ain't
but
our
like the
friends
workshop
and
we could
girlfriends that's
do.
supporting us right now. So I don't even know if they
No,
come.
I'm talking about our girlfriends
I
that's
don't even
watching
know if
us.
they coming.
Our new friends that's watching
Oh, okay.
us.
Our family
new
that's
friends.
watching.
I'm talking about our new friends
Our new friends.
that's watching us and that's engaged. You know, we love to get together.
Yeah.
Even if we could do,
Absolutely.
even if we have to do a virtual for those that are not in the.
Okay. Oh,
the
yeah.
thing,
But we're
'cause we
going to
can film
record
it and
it.
record
We
it
can
and all
film
that
and
kind of
Do a
record.
live.
Absolutely.
Do a
But
live
I think right where we are,
So
we
you're
have
gonna
enough.
you're gonna take the lead on that then, right, Sharice?
Oh, I will. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
ain't want to. I got other stuff.
Yeah,
to do.
no. I could
Got
take.
enough.
I could definitely take the lead on that.
Yes. Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right. Come on, timeless and unfiltered. Yes, Lyra.
I'm Stephanie.
Sharice.
And Ivania.
And we spilling the tea on life insurance,
Baby,
on
everything.
trust, on everything.
One laugh at a time.
Good night, y'all.